E3 2001, Nintendo revealed the GameCube for the first time and Shigeru Miyamoto said this.
Let me introduce you to a new baby. Like all babies, it's small. It will make a lot of noise.
But more importantly, Satoru Iwata made a bold proclamation to the world.
I believe we know more about what makes great games than anyone else. And this is why Nintendo succeeds.
Take a look.
And they then proceeded to announce Luigi's Mansion and a little game called Smash Bros. Melee. The GameCube didn't do too well. But that's not really the GameCube's fault. It was just competing against the highest selling console of all time. Which is why, 3 years later during E3 2004, Nintendo came in with an entirely new approach to their consoles.
It is different.
They offered ways to play games that their competitors didn't, but being different wasn't enough. And their newly hired president of marketing not only understood the gaming industry, but also the gaming community, which is why he casually walked on stage and said,
Here's a brand new Metroid game playing on Nintendo DS. The same way you'll be playing it tomorrow.
The DS was a pivotal moment in Nintendo's history, the moment Nintendo found its identity in the gaming world. And Iwata's closing speech perfectly encapsulates Nintendo's philosophy moving forward.
Better technology is good, but technology is not enough. The definition of a new machine must be different. I suppose I could give you a list of our technical specs. I believe you'd like that, but I won't for a simple reason. They really don't matter.
A philosophy that's more relevant today than ever.
The time when horsepower alone made an important difference is over. Thank you very much.
And I want to reiterate, Nintendo wasn't just being quirky, they were actually listening to fans and giving them what they want. Just the next year, they revealed the Nintendo Revolution, aka the Wii. And they said, it's not just backwards compatible, it's everything compatible, announcing the Virtual Console. A feature, mind you, that they removed on the Switch in favor of a paid subscription. It is wild to think that there was once a time when Nintendo was actually in touch with their fans. In fact, their 2006 E3 presentation may just be the most straight to the point, no BS showcase that I've ever seen.
Let me begin with what I'm guessing are a few of the main questions on your mind. How much will it cost, and when can I get it? What about the games, and which developers are on board with us? We have answers to some questions, but deliberately not to all.
Reggie basically called out the entire industry and predicted the next 20 years of technology.
The graveyard of any industry is filled with the headstones of companies who decided to keep doing things the same old way. Playing only on the margin, making things just a little bit better. That strategy works for a while, but ultimately it's fatal. Over the years, our industry has come to accept progress simply by what's on the screen. The next leap is not about what you see, because what you see is not always what you get. The next leap is about playing, because playing is believing. If all you want is next generation, you're in the wrong place. Because what you'll see from Nintendo is not just next. Instead, it's what's absolutely new. As many of you know, Nintendo's way is to challenge conventional thinking, not just for the sake of doing things differently, but to do things better.
And they delivered on that promise. The Wii was an instant success. Finding one in stores was practically impossible, even 2 years after its launch. It didn't just appeal to gamers, it appealed to everyone. Then the 3DS introduced glasses-free 3D, a technology that still amazes me to this day. Shortly after, the Wii U introduced a new window into gaming, adding a screen on the controller. But they just forgot to mention that it is a new console and not a new controller, so it flopped. But even with their backs to the wall, Nintendo continued to not just be different, but better. Once again revolutionizing handheld gaming. with the Switch becoming the third best-selling console, just after the DS. Which finally brings us to today, where they have broke the pattern. Nintendo is not doing something different. They are playing only on the margin, making things just a little bit better. And they seem to be aware of this themselves, shadow dropping a trailer void of any enthusiasm. I thought it was a bad trailer when I first saw it, but I just blamed the leaks for spoiling it for me. But now that it's been about a month since the reveal trailer, and I've had some time to really sit with my thoughts and work out how I feel about the whole thing, I am not happy. This may be the lamest console reveal ever. It did not get me hyped for the next era of Nintendo at all. The focus of the trailer was on the exterior design of the Switch 2. The exterior design is the most generic, bland thing about the console. Rather than showing us what's new, it showed us what's the same. And the crazy thing is, the Switch 2 actually does have some new features, like using the Joy-Con as a mouse. A new addition that's legitimately exciting, but it's just hinted at in the trailer. It's like a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. I mean, if you look back at previous console reveals, they were also grand and really emphasized the gaming possibilities of the new console.
Is more than a game.
They also did a great job of giving a personality to these systems, which I know that sounds weird to say, but first impressions are important, and reveal trailers set the stage of which the console is viewed on.
You're distracting me. What is this?
And Nintendo has been on a streak of making really great commercials lately. I mean, the Switch's reveal trailer was perfect, showing the guy playing the big new Zelda game, and then he walks up to the TV and starts playing the big game portably. At the time it was revealed, this was mind-blowing. And then a new 3D Mario 2. It was perfect. Fast forward 8 years, and those two games are still the best on the console. The Switch kinda peaked too early, and for the past 3 years, fans have been desperate for an upgrade. It has been rumor after rumor, leak after leak. No one cares about the Switch anymore. All eyes are on the Switch 2. And what did Nintendo do? Nothing. They have been silent for so long that other companies have decided to fill the void that Nintendo left.
Just grab your magnetic base and you can go FPS mode with that Switch. Boom. Done.
So long that reputable brands decided to advertise accessories for an unreleased product because they got tired of waiting for Nintendo to announce it. And in the days leading up to the Switch 2's reveal, everything about the Switch 2 was revealed, making the trailer feel bitter more than anything. Like, here, take it, Switch 2. You happy now? Will everyone please shut up about the leaks already? And speaking of the leaks, they were spot on. So watching the trailer of a Switch slowly morphing into the leaks, and what is personally my most disliked color scheme that we've seen, it was just a letdown. I mean, there are fan trailers better than this. And for some strange reason, Nintendo blacked out the C button because God forbid they show anything new that will actually get you excited. And I find it funny that so many people were saying Nintendo was the one leaking things on purpose for free marketing. I highly doubt that, because the original title of the trailer was an update from Nintendo, with a plain logo as a thumbnail. Do you guys know what that means? It changes the entire context of this trailer. It means that Nintendo's original vision was for you to unsuspectingly click on a video and be like, oh, what's this? A Switch? Oh, bigger? Is this Switch XL? Whoa, wait. What is happening? Hold up, don't tell, no way, Switch 2, that's crazy. I never would have expected that. And you know, this might have worked 2 years ago. I mean, how tone deaf can you be? And look, I have always been a fan of Nintendo my whole life. Through thick and thin, I was a Nintendo only gamer. But halfway through the Switch's life cycle, I got bored of the thing. The games on it are expensive, they don't run well, the Joy-Cons were constantly breaking, online was awful, and once in a blue moon we would get an actual new Nintendo game that wasn't a port or a remaster. All of this compelled me to just buy a PlayStation, and I've never looked back. It was an eye-opener for me on just how many great games I've been missing out on because I own a Nintendo console. Games that would never be able to run on Nintendo hardware. And for every generation, that's been the case. A sacrifice Nintendo fans have had to make to play Nintendo games. And for the most part, it was worth it. Their games really are that good. But nowadays, games take more and more time to make. And as we have seen on the Switch, Nintendo can't keep up. I mean, they've already burned through their backlog of great Wii U games no one has played. So having third-party support is more important now than ever. And I don't mean sloppy hand-me-downs. I mean actual games that don't get nerfed to PS3 graphics to be able to run. And it feels like the gaming industry as a whole has been graphically stagnant now for 5 years. So this is actually a perfect time for Nintendo to catch up. But looking at the game they decided to showcase, this looks like it could run on the current Switch. Look, Mario Kart has always been one of the best looking games for every console it's been on. And the fact that they chose to showcase it in the reveal trailer tells me that this is what the Switch 2 is capable of. And I did find this video of a developer breaking down why this new game is graphically impressive. And he seems to know what he's talking about, so I'll link him in the description.
So the fact that this is using true volumetric lighting, it's very expensive. That tells me that the Switch 2 is significantly more powerful.
But if we need a developer to show us why a new game on a brand new console looks good, then that means the trailer failed to do its job. And the most worrying thing for me is that this is possibly what we are going to be playing Nintendo games on for the next 7 years. And the problem with that is, I'm old. I just want to see a modern looking Zelda game before I die. I mean, am I really going to be in my mid-30s before I get to play the game that was teased to me as an 11-year-old? And the older I get, the less and less portable gaming sounds appealing to me. It's nice to play games on the toilet, don't get me wrong, but other consoles have found a solution for that without having to compromise performance. If I am leaving my house, then it's most likely to run errands or do something other than video games. Like, I'm not going to pay for a ferry then pull out my Switch. I'm going to enjoy the ride. That's the point of going outside. If I wanted to play games, I would just stay home. So me personally, an ideal console would have just been a generic, powerful system that can stream to a screen or something. So basically a Wii U 2. But I am aware that the public does not share that opinion. And most people are happy with what was shown. And I think Nintendo was very smart to not participate in the graphics rat race, since as we're seeing with the PS5 Pro, it's a losing battle. There are even rumors that the Switch 2 will be as powerful as a PS4, which if that is true, a PS4 in the palm of my hand sounds amazing. There are PS5 games on that thing. But the reason I'm so skeptical here is not because I don't trust the Switch 2 will be a capable console, but because I've lost trust in Nintendo themselves. The Nintendo today is simply not the same Nintendo from 20 years ago. Many considered Iwata and Reggie to be the heart and soul of the company, and looking at Nintendo's first consoles since they left, I'm beginning to think that's true, because they have become the very thing they swore to destroy.
Here's our take. What's hot is the feel of the game. The look is secondary. We're a company that doesn't run from risk. We run to it. It's hot if it's disruptive. It's not if it's predictable. We were the disruptor 20 years ago, and we still are today.
The reports I hear really strike me as just not the company I knew. You know, as I read the stories and I read the reports, you know, it struck me that, you know, this isn't the Nintendo that I left. And I'll just leave it at that.
Now, does this mean the Switch 2 is going to fail? No. It won't be as big as the Switch, but it will be enough. And if Nintendo is going to stop taking leaps to ensure that they can make enough, then I worry that what we're seeing here is the beginning of the downfall of Nintendo. Reggie said it himself.
That strategy works for a while, but ultimately it's fatal.
So it might not be with the Switch 2, or even the Switch 3, but maybe the 4 or 5. We are currently witnessing it happen with Microsoft and Sony. The longer they spent chasing the money, the harder it became for them to see what truly matters: the customers. And Nintendo is not only on this path, but fast-tracking it. Especially recently, they have only been making decisions off of corporate greed, sloppy full-price ports, a cheap music app so that they can justify taking down channels, DMCAs on mods, taking down emulators for games that they don't even sell anymore. Hell, both Sony and Microsoft sell their consoles at a loss and then make back the money through subscriptions and game sales. Nintendo sells at a profit, and they have a subscription, which by the way they recently raised the price on, and their games never go on sale. As the saying goes, no one hates Nintendo fans more than Nintendo. And this trailer is an indication that they will continue being out of touch. And it's this lack of respect for their fans that has led me to gravitate away towards other consoles. I mean, just in the last year, it feels like Sony has been more Nintendo than Nintendo. They've given us a modern Mario game, modern Pokemon, Bayonetta, Splatoon, Metroid. I'ma just say it, if the Switch 2 can't run Palworld, I don't want it. I mean, wouldn't that be something? But even looking at the eccentric design of the PS5, or the DualSense adaptive triggers, they have that Nintendo weirdness to it. And you know, the adaptive triggers are genuinely great at immersing me in a game. It's not just different, it's better. Meanwhile, the Switch 2 still has digital triggers. But I digress. Console wars are a thing of the past. Nowadays, it's all about IPs, and there is still a lot we don't know about the system or the games they have lined up for it. And if there's anything good that came from this trailer, it's that we finally have a date where I guess they will actually reveal the Switch 2. This was more of a tease. What I'm personally most interested in is what the UI for this thing is gonna look like. I'm not even kidding, it would make or break the console for me. Nintendo has always added so much flavor to their menu screens. Like on the Wii, you didn't have apps, you had channels. You didn't have notifications, you had letters. The Wii U would show all the most popular games and different posts from their communities under them. When you moved your Wii data to the Wii U using an SD card, it plays this montage of Pikmin actually transferring your games with a Pikmin style loading bar, and they pretend that your SD card is a spaceship and that they are moving to another planet. So when you put your SD card into the Wii U, you actually see them arriving and everything looks much more sleeker and upgraded on the brand new Wii U. And it's like, damn. All I'm doing is transferring my data. They did not have to go this hard for a loading screen, but they did. Or on the 3DS eShop, you buy a game and watch this animation of it filling up as it downloads. Then you unwrap the game like it's a present. Or even game intros, those were so cool. They really did a good job of setting the tone of the game before you even started it. I would even settle for something like the Wii U intro screens. You start up Donkey Kong on the Switch. You get this awkward silence, just long enough for you to reflect on your life decisions. Who wants that? But when you start Donkey Kong on the Wii U, it goes... And it's these little details that immerse you in a gaming system and make you feel less like you're running program.x. And speaking of the eShop, it needs a complete overhaul. It's not only slow, but does a poor job of introducing you to new games, and they really need to bring back the Virtual Console. I understand they are remaking old games and selling them for full price, so they don't want you to have access to them. But at least give us Virtual Console up to the N64. And please, Nintendo, please add some music or ambiance to the menus. Anything. I mean, people have been begging for themes for years, but all we got is black or integrated chat is another thing people have been begging for, as well as trophies, streaming services, dedicated servers, download play, maybe a free game demo would be nice. I mean, even Sony, who has also been out of touch, got that one right. I still can't believe 1-2 Switch was a full price game. Fun fact, but for the first month of owning a 3DS, I never even bought a 3DS game. I was just playing the games built into it. There are just so many no-brainer things Nintendo can do to improve the Switch experience. And it sucks that I even have to contemplate whether Nintendo would do them. The appearance of the Switch 2 is honestly the least of my concerns when there are so many glaring issues to be fixed. And it's not like they didn't fix anything about the design. Like, the Joy-Con release buttons are way bigger now, but they only focus on what's the same in the trailer. I'm gonna stop complaining for a second and actually look at what they showed. The color scheme, it is a lot more bland, but I do understand why they chose it. They want the Switch 2 to instantly be recognizable from the Switch 1. Like, if you were to line them up, they want you to instantly be able to say which is which. And the Switch 1 has had Joy-Cons of all sorts of colors, but never had they done accent highlights like this. So my guess is that we will probably get different colored Joy-Cons, but the key thing would be that the shell and the ring around the joystick would always be two separate colors, which I think it could make for some cool combinations. Something else that stood out to me, which I haven't really seen anyone talk about, is these little empty spaces. When I first heard that the Joy-Cons would be magnetically attached, I was concerned, because just how strong are these magnets? Like, if I were to dangle the Switch 2 by the Joy-Con, would it just fall off? But after seeing this trailer, my worries were put to rest. It looks like they are just magnetically guided, but attached with clips that go into these spaces from the top and bottom. Just make sure you don't press the release buttons by mistake. And this connector port has been a bit controversial. Many are worried about it breaking, but if the Joy-Cons are going straight into the cutout and magnetically slap into place, then there's not really much room for error. What I'm more interested in are these mystery holes. Some people theorize it could be a microphone or an IR blaster, which does give me hope that the Pro controller will also have them. And controlling the TV was such an underrated feature from the Wii U. Also, a headphone jack on the Pro controller, that would be amazing. Nintendo doesn't have the best graphics, but I swear their music sounds like it's in 4K. Try playing Echoes of Wisdom with good headphones to know what I'm talking about. But we can only speculate, and until April 2nd, I'll be holding my breath. Honestly, until it releases, I'll still be holding my breath. And I think you guys should too. I know we all love Nintendo at heart, despite them not loving us back at times. However, it's our undying loyalty to them that got things to the way they are today. So think of it as some tough love and sit back and think to yourself, could this company do better? Are they up to my standards? If the answer is yes, then hey, all the more power to you. Just make sure you hold off on spending your money until you're confident the Switch 2 is a worthy upgrade. Don't let the FOMO get ya. If the Switch 2 turns out to be a glorified Switch Pro, then don't get it. I mean, you have lots of options now, and it's just as Reggie said.
The next leap is about playing, because playing is believing.